Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. So this is a continuation of the previous video. We're gonna still look at the Keynesian system. Okay, a change in income when one of the components of aggregate expenditure change. So specifically, what we're gonna do in this video is to look at the change in the tax. Okay, change in tax. Um, so in the previous video, we have already looked at what happens when the government expenditure change. Okay, there's an increase in government expenditure. So what we plan to do in this video is to look at what happened when there is a change in tax. Okay, in tax. So basically, from this equilibrium condition, okay, where our income equals to expenditure, we can see that tax, okay, is a component. Okay, it affects our equilibrium condition. Okay, specifically, it will affect consumption. Okay, household gonna basically reduce their consumption when the government start imposing tax. Okay, so a change in tax will have an impact on the income level. So where we have a T here. Okay, so a change in income. Okay, what gonna be is that we're gonna have the autonomous expenditure multiplier, because this is simply a constant. Okay, 1 over 1 minus b, and then we have this negative b, which is a coefficient of t here. So we have negative b multiplied with the change in tax. Okay, so we can rearrange this term, where now we can see that the change, okay, in income for any change, for 1 unit change in tax, would basically cause our income to change by this amount, negative b over 1 minus b. Now, this term is what is known as the tax multiplier, okay, because all of this will have a multiplied or ripple effect. Okay, whenever t changes, okay, it will lead to a bigger change in income. Okay, in income, because of the ripple effect. Okay, just to make it to make the statement to be simple. Okay, um, so let's try to do the analysis. Okay, as always in these two graphs, we have our income, okay, on the horizontal axis. Okay, in the first graph, we're going to have the components of the aggregate expenditure. Okay, on the vertical axis, consumption, investment, and government expenditure. In the second graph, we're going to have the investment, government schedule with saving and the tax schedule. Okay, now take note that tax, okay, would have an impact on the consumption component. Okay, because this is an income tax, marginal income tax, negative b multiplied by t. Okay, so first of all, let's just draw the our initial condition. So let's say this is the initial condition. So the 45-degree line, remember, it represents the equilibrium condition where income equals to expenditure. Okay, so let's say we start somewhere here, and this is our aggregate expenditure. So E0, okay, which equals to, I'm putting all this in bracket because T is more or less embedded in C. So I'm going to put here subscript G here. Okay, so when our aggregate expenditure, okay, schedule crosses the 45-degree line, this is our equilibrium income. Okay, let's say Y bar 0. Okay, so similarly, so we're gonna have our saving schedule. Okay, our saving schedule gonna be, let's say, somewhere here. Okay, let me just use the same color for the initial condition. So this is our S plus T0. Okay, the initial condition T0. And so similarly, this would be, I need to get this point because I want to draw the I plus G schedule. Okay, so I plus G schedule gonna be somewhere here. Okay, so this is our I plus G. Okay, I plus G. And so when the injection, okay, equals to leakages, okay, this would give us the corresponding equilibrium income. Okay, okay, so now let's say we're gonna do our analysis. Now let's say the government decided to increase tax, okay, from T0 to T1, okay, by delta T. Okay, okay, by delta T. Okay, so what gonna happen is that when T increases, our expenditure line here would fall down. Okay, so let me just write the intercept here. So what is our intercept here? This is basically A minus B T0, okay, minus T0 plus I plus G. Okay, and of course, correspondingly, this would be our I plus G. Okay. Now, from T0, as T increases, our aggregate expenditure would fall down. Okay, it would fall down because of the higher tax. Okay, because of the higher tax. So let's say now it fall down to somewhere here. Okay, where this is our E1. Okay, where now because of the increase in tax, okay, our expenditure has become lower. So B T1 plus I plus G. Now this change is basically delta T. Okay, delta T. And this is our new equilibrium, which is Y bar 1. Okay, Y bar 1. What about our saving schedule? Okay, our saving and tax schedule, okay, because of the higher tax, okay, now it would go up. Okay, it will shift up. Tax. So now it's gonna cross, okay, the line somewhere here. Okay, so this is S plus T1. Okay, so when the leakages, okay, equals to the injection, this is our new equilibrium income. Okay, now the shift here, this is basically caused by the change in tax. However, take note, okay, delta T, the size of delta T and the size of delta Y. Okay, so this is the change in our equilibrium income. The change in equilibrium income has basically fallen by a bigger amount, okay, than delta T. Okay, then delta T, it falls a lot because of the tax multiplier. Okay, because of the tax multiplier. So the consumer, whenever the household, okay, when they need to pay the tax, they would basically reduce their consumption as well as their saving. Okay, it depends on which factor is stronger, but it will have a multiplier effect. Okay, a multiplier effect. So which is similar to is the opposite of our previous discussion on the this multiplier effect when the government spend more. Okay, in this regard, now government is collecting more taxes, and because of that, the household have to basically overall they have to reduce their consumption in order to pay the higher tax. Okay, so when they reduce their consumption, so other agents in the economy would basically receive less income. Okay, so that basically explain why the decrease, okay, in the income, okay, has been multiplied. Okay, has been multiplied by this amount. Okay, because of the tax multiplier effect. Okay, now let's just have a look at. Let's do a simple comparison. Okay, between the government expenditure multiplier as well as the tax multiplier. Okay, so we know that from our previous discussion, we just simply want to combine. Okay, so from the so we have a change in government expenditure. Okay, would basically can be measured by the government expenditure multiplier. Okay, G, okay, equals 1 over 1 minus B, while the change in tax, okay, would be represented by the tax multiplier. Okay, y bar over delta T equals negative B over 1 minus B. Okay, now let's just have a look, okay, to have a rough idea of the direction or the size or the magnitude of the change. Okay, G and the tax multiplier here. Okay, so let's say if, so remember this B is basically our marginal propensity to consume. Okay, the marginal propensity to consume. So it depends, okay, on the behavior of the household. How do they spend and how do they save? Okay. Now, when let's say the household decide to spend 50% of their income, so what will be the size of the government expenditure multiplier? It will be 2. Okay, 1 over half, which is 2. So basically, what is the meaning of this? For every $1, okay, increase in government expenditure, equilibrium income would double. Okay, if this is the MPC. What about tax multiplier, this would be negative 1. Okay, negative 1. So if the government were to increase tax by $1, so basically the income going to go down by 1. Okay, by 1. It's the exact same. Okay, the exact same amount. What if the marginal propensity to consume, okay, is higher? So let's say now this the society, okay, in the second example, they spend 80%, okay, of their income. Okay, so what's going to happen to the government expenditure multiplier? The G multiplier, so this would be 5. Okay, 5. So for every $1 increase in G, equilibrium income would go up by 5 times, okay, by 5 units. Okay, and correspondingly, so what happens if the government decide to increase tax? So if the government decide to increase tax, okay, by 1 unit, then in total the equilibrium income will fall down by 4. Okay, so it's 4 times bigger. Okay, and if let's say this society, okay, is like to spend a lot, okay, if the MPC is 0.9, then the G multiplier would be 10. Okay, so for every $1 increase in government expenditure would increase income by 10 times. Okay, by 10 times. And similarly, correspondingly, the tax multiplier would be negative 9. For every $1 increase in tax, okay, equilibrium income would fall by 9 units. Okay, by 9 units. So if you look at this, you can see the pattern. Okay, try to detect the pattern where you should be able to see that the absolute value, okay, of the tax multiplier, the absolute value of the tax multiplier. So the absolute value. So ignore the negative sign. This is 1, this is 4, this is 9. Is always equals to what? It's always equals to the G multiplier minus 1. Right? 10 minus 1 is 9. Okay, which will give us the absolute value of the tax multiplier. Okay, the tax multiplier. So this basically tells us that the tax multiplier is 1 unit less in absolute value than the government expenditure multiplier. So the G multiplier is in absolute value, it is bigger than the tax multiplier. So based on this, okay, a simple pattern comparison, okay, we can conclude, okay, that the government may conduct, okay, a balanced budget multiplier. Okay. So where, let's see, what happens when the government, okay, does both of these at the same time. Okay, so they increase the government expenditure. They want to spend more, okay, to help the economy to recover. But then how should the government fund, okay, this higher spending? So let's say they fund by changing the tax, by increasing tax. So we want to know, so if the government were to do this, what gonna basically then happen? The net effect on equilibrium income. Okay, so what we are planning to do here is that we want to know what gonna be the net change in equilibrium income from a 1 unit. So let's say a 1 unit change in both government expenditure and tax. So government, so what we plan to analyze here is that if let's say government expenditure goes up by 1 unit, okay, and this is funded by increase in tax, okay, by $1. Okay, just to make the analysis simple. So by using this, okay, by looking at the G multiplier and the tax multiplier, so the net effect, okay, the net effect on the change in income, okay, we can obtain this by simply adding these two up, right? Because these are the net effect. Okay, the net effect, we simply take the G multiplier and then plus it with the tax multiplier, right? G multiplier and the T multiplier. So when we do this, we have we're going to obtain, we should be able to obtain the net effect, okay, on equilibrium income. Okay, So what we can do is that we can redefine. Okay, we take the definition, okay, of each of these multipliers. So we have 1 over 1 minus b for the g multiplier, and then we add with the tax multiplier, negative b over 1 minus b. So what we're going to have is that 1 minus b over 1 minus b, which is 1. Okay, which is 1. So this is how we get the balanced budget multiplier, where if the government were to do this, okay, if the government were to increase government expenditures, they are spending by 1 unit and it is funded by a 1 unit increase in tax. So this will basically destroy or delete the multiplier effect. Okay, so the increase will only be by 1 unit correspondingly. Okay, so maybe we can have a look. Can we do one graphical analysis? Okay, let me just see. Do we need to do that? Maybe in the next video, we're going to do a little bit of analysis to see what happens when the government do this. So for this part, I hope you all can already get the idea of this balanced budget multiplier, where when the government increase their expenditure by 1 unit and funded by a higher tax by 1 unit, so this will basically gonna have a net effect of only 1 unit change. So the change on equilibrium income will be accordingly. So it will only go up by 1 unit as well. Okay, so that's all for now. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video, inshallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.